are here at Dodger Stadium for playoff baseball. Hello, and thanks for joining us. I'm Maria Serrao. Now, so much to get to in the show today, but let's start right here with our Los Angeles Dodgers, who have made it to the postseason. They won their division. They beat a very good team in the Washington Nationals, and now take on another very good team in the Chicago Cubs. But because we like to take you behind the scenes here on Playing the Field, we're going to show you what it's like when you call your very last game here at Dodger Stadium, as Vin Scully did, and you clinch your division. Let's take a look. Oh my God.
Best moment in my baseball career.
Biggest smile on your face when you were rounding the bases. What were you thinking?
The game was over. Honestly, for me to be able to be in that position, to get a game-winning hit, for it to be a walk-off homer, not really sure if I deserve that, but I couldn't have asked for it any better today. Again, these are some great teammates, and baseball's fun.
Yeah, it's a fun day, you know, for Vin's last home game, and for us to get to celebrate and at home for the last home game, and just really this whole weekend, you know, it's been kind of it's been pretty historical, you know, and so for us to get to be a part of it, for myself personally to get to be a part of it and pitch yesterday and get to speak on Friday, it's just a special weekend.
Of course he does, you know, but I think we should give all the credit to him. He's the one, you know, guiding the ship and keeping us afloat and weathering the storms when, you know, it looked like everything was going downhill and Clayton got hurt and, you know, we were 8 games back and what were the Dodgers going to do? And, you know, he was the one that kept us upbeat and positive and kept pushing us forward and, you know, definitely wouldn't be here today without him.
In baseball's history, in 2014, Commissioner Seal gave the Commissioner's Historic Achievement Award to Vin Scully. I can't think.
You really and truly have been the wind beneath my wings. I owe you everything. Now, people say to me, well, now that you're retiring, what are you going to do? Well, you know, if you're 65 and you retire, you might have 20 years left of life or more, and you better have some plans. When you're 89 and they ask you what your plans are, I'm going to try to live. Wife whom I adore. I have 5 wonderful children. I have 16 grandchildren. And I have 3 great-grandchildren. I guarantee you, if I don't know what to do, they will find something for me to do.
And we will have much more on Vin Scully a little later in the show. But right now it's time to talk about pitching, which has been very interesting this year at the Los Angeles Dodgers. And the man that knows more about it than practically anyone is Dodger pitching coach Rick Honeycutt. Let's take a look. All right, we are here with Dodger pitching coach Rick Honeycutt. Rick, this has been probably one of the craziest seasons, and for you, has to be one of the most challenging with all of the changes. And yet this team is in first place. How is this working?
Well, I think it sometimes, you know, just the overall, I think the stability of the pretty much the everyday lineup. I think, you know, the key guys that have been able to put things together. Obviously, the second half we're hitting the ball extremely well and starting to put some offense together, which is always a big help no matter who's on the mound. But, from my standpoint, obviously it has been challenging to have so many different starting pitchers, all the injuries that we've had to battle with, and nothing like we designed when we were leaving spring training. So that side of it, and I think you stay with the philosophy that we've kind of created is trying to, still put together, as good a game plan as possible. And truth of the matter, though, the bullpen is for me has been the lifesaver of our team. All the innings that they've had to carry this year, you just can't say enough about them. And I think that they've really been the glue for the staff so far.
Talking about the bullpen, everybody worries about the taxing of the bullpen, especially going into September. How do you sort of avoid that?
Well, I think from night to night, obviously there's people that are down and there's people that you're going to stay away from if at all possible. So, we still do the best. We still care about, the number of innings and the number of appearances that they do. But at the same time, when you have X number out there and we have a situation where the starters unfortunately haven't gone deep, you're forced to use people that you shouldn't be using on certain nights. So it has an ongoing effect that eventually gets you. So, but at the same time, again, these guys have stepped up. They've been warriors, and I just can't say enough about them for their, tenacity and the way that they go about their business. With people can't overlook that fact that they've really, been the glue to hold us together during these tough times with short outings from starters.
And when we come back, the Indy Car season may be over, but not for one driver who's not done competing. He's now competing on the dance floor. Sound familiar? We'll be right back. Well, we are so excited to be here at Dodger Stadium this deep into October playing baseball. And as the Dodgers continue their journey, the Lakers and Clippers begin theirs at the Staples Center. I had a chance to catch up with both teams at Media Day.
Without the ball moving and a lot of movement.
Guys are gonna like it. He knows he's been, a player, a long time ago. He's been in a great team at like Golden State. I think the guys are gonna respect that. I think he's pretty clear, pretty straightforward. Know what we have to do, and I think we can figure out how to put all that talent together and play together. I think we can be a really good team.
Do you think it's a plus for Luke that he was a Laker and he sort of knows the Laker philosophy?
I think so, for sure. Why not? I think everything counts, and everything you can put, everything you can add to that always is going to be easier. He knows the facilities, the people who work in the office that make everything a little bit more comfortable for him, for sure.
Welcome back. Thank you. You know what? You guys have so many new players this year. What is it like for you? You're coming back for your second season to sort of gel with the new players and especially a lot of young players.
Well, most of the young players, they've been here last year. We got Brendan and Ivica, which are great kids, and they will adapt really fast to what Luke wants, and they'll be good pieces for us for sure. I think Brendan's got tremendous potential, and maybe he's still physically not at his best, but he's one of those guys that he's got amazing length. He can shoot. He can play great defense. He's really skilled for his size. He's got like no limits if he wants. And with all the new guys, like you said, it's just interesting to have like a bunch of like veterans that been around and been in winning teams, guys that know what it takes to win games as well. Really professionals as well, which is important. Guys that are willing to do whatever it takes to win games. So really excited about this new group, the new chemistry we're gonna have, the new identity, of course, especially with having a new coaching staff, which is gonna make everything all different as well. So I think we have a good mix of a young core and then some other veterans that will make it everything very interesting for us.
That question. I'll get back to you.
What's your take real quick on from our players this offseason? And, obviously.
It's been an honor to even play 19 years in the NBA. I've seen a lot of players come and go faster than they probably should have, and I've been fortunate to be in the game this long, and hopefully I can just share some of my experiences with the rest of my teammates. Hopefully I can inspire them. Hopefully we can win a championship, and I can pretty much go on top, So I like our chances. The reason for me coming back was because of this group. I think this is a good group. Unfortunately, we dealt with a lot of injuries. I think this group is talented enough to win a championship, and that's one of the main reasons I want to come back, to give it one more try and help this group get over the top.
If you can see him out in the doorway. Blake, straight ahead.
Every team in the league have talent, and just some have more than others. But like Paul is right, we got a good team, but I'm not gonna call no team in the league super teams.
Main thing is go and push one another. It starts tomorrow, and it's going to carry over to the rest of the season. So whoever it may be, no matter what number, Luke, me, or Allen, whoever it is, as long as we push one another, because it's only going to benefit us.
And just think, this will be the first time in 20 years that the Lakers will be without a guy named Kobe Bryant. But nonetheless, there always seems to be lots of drama when it comes to the Lakers and Clippers, and we'll bring you all of it right here on Playing the Field. Well, this has not been an easy season for the Los Angeles Dodgers. In fact, they've had to navigate through some very rough stretches. I had a chance to sit down with Dodger third baseman Justin Turner, who talks about how the team has come through some difficult days. You guys are in first place, but there has been such an influx of injuries, of people coming and going. Take us behind the curtain a little bit. What goes on in the locker room, and how do you guys feel like you've been winning and been able to continue winning?
Yeah, well, it started early with us this year. We had Brett go down in spring training, Andre go down in spring training. McCarthy was still rehabbing, coming back. So I don't think you ever get used to it, but we were kind of dealing with it from day one, it felt like. So as the season's progressed on and more guys have unfortunately gotten hurt, it's kind of just roll with the punches and keep moving forward. And I always try to tip my hat to the front office for the job that they've done in creating depth on our roster and being able to plug those holes. When guys go down, more guys come up and step into that role, and they've been doing a tremendous job for us, and I think that's how we've kind of been staying afloat.
What is that like for you as a player? You've been one of the ones that has been here more stable, but when you've got guys like, I talked to Will Venable, I've talked to guys that are sort of coming in and out, what is that like for you being in that locker room, trying to still have that camaraderie with everyone?
Yeah, every time a new guy comes in, you just try to make them feel as comfortable as possible and make them feel like a part of the team, like they've been here for years. And that's the whole goal. We want everyone to feel comfortable and feel like they belong here, and to give them the best chance to go out and perform the way that we want them to perform and have success, because we know if they're comfortable and they're playing good and they're having success, it's going to give us the best chance to win.
And when we come back, it's all about Dodger Japanese pitcher Kenta Maeda. Don't go away. All right, we are joined today by Kenta Maeda and Will Ireton, who you actually translate for Kenta. My first question is, how long have you known each other, and how did you two meet?
今お付き合いされて。We met at the beginning of the year. I was introduced by mutual friends that we know.
And you've become friends over time, yes?
友達になったんですかと。
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great friend.
Yeah, I could see that you spend a lot of time working out with Kenta.
そういうワークアウトいつも前田さんと一緒にワークアウトしたりとかしてるのをよく見てるんですけども。
You keep him in good shape.
そういい体がすごいしっかりしましたね、ウィル君は。
俺のライバルで。
He's my rival now.
Oh, very good, very good. So when you first came to the Dodgers, Kenta, how did you communicate with other players, even some of the Spanish players? Have you learned Spanish, learned English? How does that work?
ドジャースの選手とコミュニケーション。
いうのってちょっと簡単な言葉を教えてもらったりして。
My teammates told me how to, they taught me certain phrases, simple words that I can use, and to players who can only speak Spanish, that's what I, asked too, just some certain words that maybe I can use.
Okay. When I watch you, I notice you in the dugout on the days that you're not pitching. And even for many pitchers, I watch you watching other pitchers on the mound. What do you look for when you're watching another pitcher?
前田さんが登板してない時に、
カードが関係ないなら純粋にこうチームメイトを応援する気持ちで見てる。
You know, if I'm planned to pitch during the series, I do watch the hitters and see how they hit, what kind of swing they have, and even if I'm not going to be pitching that series, I just look, I'm there to root for my teammates.
I noticed that hitting is very important to the pitchers here at the Dodgers, and you've done very well hitting as well. Is that fun for you to hit?
ドジャースではすごくピッチャー陣の中ではバッティングがすごく大事に思われてたと思うんですけども、前田さんはバッティング好きですか？楽しいですか？
大好きですね。日本からずっと好きだったし、試合の中で打席に立つのをすごく楽しみにして。
Yeah, I love to hit. It's something that I've always prided myself in Japan too, and something that I really enjoy, especially in a game-like situation.
Takashi Saito mentioned to me that he said Rick Honeycutt was one of the best pitching coaches he ever worked with. What kind of adjustments makes him so good?
斉藤隆選手。
指導してくれるので、そういうのはすごく助かってる。
If there's something wrong with how I'm pitching, or if I'm in a little bit of a trouble, he gives me advices. So in that way, he helps me up a lot. And I'm sure, since he has a lot of experience dealing with Japanese players, a lot of his advices are probably coming from his experiences.
Does he speak Japanese very well?
日本語話せますか？
あんまり話せないんじゃないか。
Not really. I don't think so.
You have to help him along a little bit.
ちょっとハニーさん助けないといけないですねと。
Yes. What about Clayton Kershaw or some of the other pitchers? How do you talk to them? Through the interpreter or?
そのカーショーとか他のチームメイトはどうやって話してるんですかと通訳。
もう通訳挟む時もあるし、みんなこう分かりやすくゆっくりこう、僕が分かるように喋ってくれたりするんで、そういう時はできるだけ努力して聞き取ろうとしてる。
Sometimes the interpreter is there to interpret, but other times the players really speak in very simple language, so it helps me, and I try to really listen hard and learn from what they're saying.
Well, this year's IndyCar season came to an end in Sonoma with Penske driver Simon Pagenaud winning the championship. Before another driver, James Hinchcliffee, he decided he simply wasn't done competing. So he decided to follow in the footsteps of IndyCar driver Helio Castroneves. That's right. He joined the cast of Dancing with the Stars, and he's doing pretty well. I sat down with James in Sonoma, who talked about his journey from racetrack to dance floor.
Very different kind of nerves, but in a lot of ways more nervous. I've been racing 20 years, so I have a fair amount of experience. I have, I've been through pretty much everything that could happen on a racetrack at one point or another. I hadn't been through anything on a dance floor, good, bad, or indifferent, and so there was a lot of unknowns, certainly, in doing it in front of not only a live studio audience, but the live television audience. Something I've been doing 2 weeks versus something I've been doing for 2 decades. It's a different feeling. It was very nerve-wracking, but I have an incredible partner in Sharna Burgess, and she kept me calm. We were joking literally right up until the count came down. We almost missed the start of the song because we were cracking jokes on the dance floor. I didn't even see the video package leading into it. I don't remember what we were joking about. We were joking about something, and I honestly don't remember much of the dance at all. I just remember ending and thinking, hey, that actually went pretty well, and floored by the scores and the judges' comments. I mean, it couldn't have gotten any better. Problem is, it's at the bar high, and now people expect good dances, but I'm not sure if we can actually repeat that.
So have you ever danced before, and did Helio give you any pointers about being on the show?
I had never danced in any appropriate way before. I had never danced in any sober way before. Maybe is probably the best way to put it. I imagine the not so sober ways were not pretty. So it was, yeah. I mean, I was a complete neophyte going into this. I had no. I mean, before the show, I had no desire to learn how to dance. It was just not even on my radar. I can now say I've kind of learned to enjoy it quite a bit, and it's fascinating. It's cool learning something new. So yeah, I mean the expectations going in were quite low, but I did get some pointers from Helio. Not so much on particular dances as much as just kind of learning a bit about the process and what I was subjecting myself to, and how to get through it week to week.
And James is doing very well. He's still in contention for that Mirror Ball trophy, so don't forget to tune in. And remember, don't forget to vote. Now, this year's IndyCar season had one of the closest race finishes in IndyCar history. It was at the Texas Motor Speedway between Graham Rahal and James Hinchcliffee. Here's my exclusive interview with Graham Rahal, who talks about what it was like to be at the finish line.
You know, I told somebody the other day, and, you know, perhaps I can't comment on this too much, but I said to somebody, you know, it's probably the adrenaline and the feel of being in that car and being in that moment. It's surreal. You know, it's the best high I think you could ever have. But then you get out of the car and you look back at what you just did and you think to yourself, you know, what? And you know, what am I thinking? You know, why would we do that? You know, but in the moment, you know, battling wheel to wheel with these guys, it's a lot of fun. And you know what? I'm just very fortunate that day worked out the way it did.
I mean, at one point, everybody was 4 wide the last 2 laps.
Yeah.
I mean, did you know you would have passed James in that last lap when you were at the start-finish line?
Yeah, I knew I was ahead of him, and I you know, with IndyCar and some of the technology, they have like the LED light panels on the side of the roll hoops. I knew I was ahead because I saw his number. Yeah, it was close, but I mean, 8 thousandths of a second. That number sounds really close, but I say it was like 2 feet, that's enough. You know, that's all we need.
Well, that is all you needed. I got to tell you, I couldn't breathe the last lap just watching it on television. I'm like, this is nuts.
It's good fun.
Yeah.
Good fun. And yeah, I mean, I just worked the high line those last couple laps. I was trying to get Hinch to open up the bottom, and I figured if I kept working the high line, he was going to think that's where I wanted to be. When the truth was, I wanted the bottom the whole time. I just needed him to move, and he left a hole open, and off I went. You know, so it worked out. I mean, I couldn't. You know, look, it was one of those days. It was just some days things go your way, and we were up front all night. We battled hard all night, but it was one of those days that things just worked out.
Very good. Well, we'll look for you to start finish line of this race. Well, this was a difficult season for our Los Angeles Angels, but we had a chance to sit down and meet many of the players, one of them being new catcher Jet Bandy. Let's take a look. Tell me a little bit about coming up in mid-season and kind of making this your own as a catcher.
You know, I got the call, and I just wanted to come up and do the best that I can and not try to do too much. And you know, it's always been my goal to play in the big leagues, and you know, you only get so many opportunities sometimes in your lifetime, and you know, I just try to make the best of mine.
You know, it seems like a lot of guys come up and they're kind of quiet and they don't want to make a bunch of noise, but like you, I know that you put pictures in your locker of the players. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's on my locker on the front. I found a couple of baseball cards of, you know, my teammates, and I just started putting them on my locker. You know, if you're at like, you know, work or you have a desk or something, you hang pictures up like that. So I put a couple up on there, and then it just kept growing and growing and growing. And I pretty much almost have everybody on the team, including coaches. So it's pretty cool to see like their young, you know, minor league cards or like how they looked when they played. It's pretty funny.
Where did you find the pictures of the coaches?
I just asked them. I'm like, hey, you know, you guys got a baseball card I could have?
And for all of our Oakland Raider fans here still in Los Angeles, we've got some news for you. You may have heard that the Raiders are looking into going to Las Vegas, but they may also come back to Los Angeles. We don't know yet. All we know is they're playing in Oakland, and I was up there as they took on the Atlanta Falcons, and here's what they had to say after the game.
We scored late, and that just shows you we have to continue to believe, and you know, we can't come out as flat as we did and just jump on them from the jump.
What's it like having so many different people getting the ball too? Because it seems like there's a lot more involvement. Everybody, you know, from your tight ends, your running backs. You got 4 running backs. You got the wideouts.
That just shows you how special we can be, man, if we put it all together on one day.
And on our next show, we will catch up with our Los Angeles Rams to find out how they're settling in back here in Southern California. We're going to go to their training facility, which is out in Thousand Oaks, so you won't want to miss that. Well, this was the final season for Dodger broadcaster Vin Scully. After 67 years of calling Dodger games, he decided to retire. But he was much more than just a broadcaster to all the people that knew him. And they couldn't wait to tell me stories about Vin.
Well, actually, in spring training in 1956, I was 7, and I got to be a bat boy that day. It's an old story about Dad being a Greyhound bus driver, and I remember being on the bench and batting practice, and I remember seeing this kind of a handsome, preppy-looking, red-headed man, and had no idea who he was, and then come to find out the next time I bat boyed, this was one of the announcers, you know, and I was really more impressed by how he dressed than anything else. He set the example for me over the years. I was very preppy, but then his voice was very distinctive. And then 1971, I come up and a wild-arm third baseman on a day like today, and middle of the game, and I throw a ball away. I'd had troubles, and back then with transistor radios, you could hear Vin's voice, and he said something to the effect of, well, the kid's throwing another away, but he's been working hard, and I think he's going to make it. And I thought, gosh, Mr. Scully said he thinks, okay, let's get back. Yeah, and he was inspirational, as he has been ever since.
But just, again, his voice is just one of those voices that you can't get out of your head once he starts talking. And then I think the biggest memory is that he's up there by himself, and I'm not used to that. I can't sit there and talk about baseball by myself. I got to ask questions and try to bounce things off of people. He bouncing them off himself, and that's kind of tough.
Well, you know, he's the best when it comes to broadcasting a baseball game. His articulation. He was the first one to coin the phrase "the mouse that roared." Little Maury Wills, darling of the Dodgers. He'd come up with all those kind of things to describe me, and I would hear from friends. And he's just as great today as he was back in those days.
Yeah, so I grew up watching Vin, and I grew up in Torrance, California, so Vin was always on the radio for us, and my favorite memory is hearing him say my name when I came. So that was it, and other than that, you know, Kirk Gibson's obviously memorable for everybody, but listening to him call that game was pretty special.
Oh, you're right on. Kirk Gibson hit that home run, I think, is probably one of my first ones. But then coming here and just realizing how nice of a man he is, and how genuine and how respectful he is of all the guys who walk through the clubhouse, I think is something special.
My first memories of Vin Scully, you know, I was a kid. I grew up in Orange County, so I grew up listening to Vin. And for me, it's just amazing that he didn't have anybody else in the booth. Like, he did it all on his own, and the fact that he can still do that is just incredible. He's by far, in my opinion, the greatest of all time, ever. In any sport, he's the greatest sportscaster of all time.
When you played here, did you hear from other people things he said about you?
Yes, I would hear things, stories. Yeah, of course, my dad would tell me, you got to rewind the game and listen to what he said. Definitely. Just amazing stories, and it's incredible, and it's seamless. It's like he goes right into the next thing. He's a genius. He really is.
And we will miss you very much, my friend, but I guess after 67 years of working, you and Sandy deserve a couple summer vacations. And that will do it for us on Playing the Field. Remember, you can watch Playing the Field 24/7 at playingthefieldtv.com. I'm Maria Serrao, and I'll see you next time.